Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John, and today I have a new album review by a band called Slaughter to Prevail. The name of the album is Kostolom. But before I begin, if you are new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. Slaughter to Prevail is a deathcore band from Russia. For those of you who don't know, deathcore is basically a genre within a genre. It's a mixture of death metal and metalcore. The latter being a mixture of like hardcore and metal, if that makes any sense. Basically, it's death metal riffs, blast beats, and metalcore breakdowns. The guitars are usually tuned down, and they use like this like tremolo picking. The vocals are very low, growling gutturals, and kind of like some of you call it like the Cookie Monster vocals. Even sometimes there's like different like techniques they use, and even like pig squeals and things like that. But the band Slaughter to Prevail, it's a lot more than that. They incorporate these like new metal influences, most notably the band Slipknot. I actually also hear some influences from Sepultura and maybe a few other bands. But speaking of Slipknot, the band also performs with face masks, so they are a very unique band. And let me also add that sometimes with deathcore bands, when you listen to an album, the songs seem to kind of like blend into each other, and you can't really tell when one starts and one finishes. But this is a band that like doesn't have that. Like each song does stand apart from the other one. So this is their second full-length album, the first being Misery Sermon in 2017. This album is called Kostolom. There are 12 songs with a runtime of 49 minutes. I'm not going to do a track by track. I'm just going to talk about some of the key songs on the album. The first song is called Bonebreaker. They start by counting down in Russian, and at least I think they're counting down because I don't really understand the language, but the song is very brutal. It's blast beats and almost has like an industrial metal feel. You do hear that Slipknot influence in the song. Also some pretty cool like machine gun riffing, and it does really make this a heavy album opener. Next is Demolition. This one's very fast, it's intense. It moves at breakneck speeds, have some brutal guttural vocals. There's a really heavy breakdown in the song where they do kick up the speed and the heaviness even more. And there's really some really super intense blast beats going on, some start-stop riffing, and some really evil sounding vocals. It does slow down towards the end, but never really loses that heaviness. Baba Yaga has the same level of speed and heaviness. I like the riffing. It takes me back to those like early 2000s with those like new metal heavy riffs. As for the vocals, they're both in Russian and English. They mix the aggressive vocals with like the rapping and the clean singing. There's like a slow and heavy breakdown with some really like intense riffs and vocals. There's even some like futuristic sounding guitar solo, and that's something that's not always like common with bands of this nature. Made in Russia starts with a spoken word passage in Russian, goes into a very heavy riff, and it evokes that like 2000s metal, but they do take it up like a few more notches. The vocals again are in Russian and English. The song is very fast paced, some heavy riffs alongside some guitar riffs that almost sound like sirens, and really makes some interesting sounds in the mix. The riffs almost get thrashy at times as well, and this song has one of like the heaviest breakdowns in the album. Agony starts out with some very crunchy riffs mixed with some very fast tremolo picking. They actually slow it down a little on this one. They mix some of the crunchy riffs with like those like siren guitar riffs, and they also mix like these heavy vocals, but they do mix a little of that like rap metal mixed in. The song does have some complex riffs mixed with some blast beats, and it just like keeps everything going. Towards the end, there's like a really crazy breakdown and some really like thick and heavy riffing. I Killed a Man starts out with some machine gun riffing. This is another intense song. Lots of tempo changes and thick, aggressive vocals. You hear lots of different types of vocals on this one. The blast beats are really killer, and the breakdown, it's a little different. It's a little more futuristic and atmospheric, but it does get brutal again, you know, after about a minute. There are lots of layers of guitar in the song as well, and you know, this is a really standout track. Our Burrows, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it has some thick, almost like thrashy riffs, some very deep guttural vocals mixed with some blast beats and some very thick riffs. Some of the riffs in the song almost sound like they have like a slight black metal influence as well, just because of their like haunting nature of the riff. The The song does have lots of like fast and frenetic parts as well. The album closer is called Father. This one reminded me a little of that like modern day Sepultura with the thrashy riffs and the intro and the heavy like guttural vocals. Has some stop-start riffs, and it kind of keeps like everything interesting. The song also has some like intense like vocal screams, and that really adds an extra like level of heaviness to the song. The song closes with like some like siren style guitar riffs and a very like slow and heavy breakdown. Some really intense metal riffs. And the song just stops abruptly and kind of like closes out the album that way. And it is really cool how they do that. So in conclusion, you know, deathcore is one of those heavy genres, and I have listened to them over the years. You know, there are a few bands I have listened to, like Suicide Silence, Whitechapel, and Impending Doom. But with these bands, there are times that sometimes like the songs have a tendency to kind of like sound the same. But with this band, like I felt they have their own like unique sound. Like I can, you know, take this band and they sound a lot different than the other ones. I will give this album a 9 out of 10. Now I know a lot of people are talking about like the new Lorna Shore EP, saying it's like the best death metal out there, but I think this is like just as good. That's just my opinion. You might disagree. I actually didn't review the Lorna Shore one. I just chose to do this one. I thought that maybe a lot of other channels like won't be doing this one. Maybe it's because I'm a fan of 2000s metal is why I liked it, but anyway, that's just my opinion. But let me know in the comments what you thought. What do you think of this band, and have you heard any of their other albums? And that's it. Up next, I'm doing something that's completely not heavy metal. I'm going back to my classic rock roots. So you know that's another aspect of my channel. And so I'm doing a 50th anniversary of the Who's Next. Maybe I'll get that one done tomorrow. And I will be doing a top 10 collaboration with Brian from AYBL Maine, and we will be doing the top 10 songs by the band Styx. So that's two classic rock bands coming up. Stick around for that. Check out the other videos I stick over there, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one.